Does it always boil down to a philosophical debate where we have to draw a line and stand on a side and yell at each other over an inanimate object? Yes, it does. Welcome back to another episode of... It's not an episode, just welcome back. We're going to talk about some philosophical choices around modding classic amps. It's a rant. Good morning, guys. One of my customers is running about 20 minutes late. I have a really insanely cool amp that's going to be on the channel soon, and I'm working some stuff in the background. Eric, you know what I'm talking about? Some stuff that won't make it into video production. And I thank you guys for hanging out. As business ebbs and flows, you guys catch the tail end of all that stuff here on the channel, where you'll notice a couple of weeks of insane video production in the way of shorts and just regular updates, or maybe even long form tutorials type things, or just some things where I just take you guys and just throw you over my fluffy shoulder and let you ride along. So it's a mixed bag, you know. They say, hey, consistency is the key for growing your channel. Do I want to grow the channel? Of course. It's super cool. This is my creative outlet now that I'm no longer a professional musician. I'm no longer doing, production work in the studio. My home studio, not at Warner Brothers or anything like that. So this is how I get my creative outlet satisfied, the need for that satisfied, and I like that. I feel motivated to just do the best I can do for you guys out there and produce the best work I can. It just makes me feel good, like these amps are living legacies, pardon me. It's heritage stuff. It's legacy stuff. It's after I'm long gone, there's still going to be a kid or some dude that's going to get to enjoy an amp because of like what I did to it. What we do as a community of technicians and engineers, what we do, our work has a way of just hanging around after we're gone. It's legacy stuff. So all that to say is I have a few minutes to hang out as I'm waiting for this dude to arrive. And then I got to get out of here and deliver some amps and do all that stuff. But I wanted to touch base about this Princeton and just sort of highlight something. This is the perfect example of a take it or leave it type of an amp. This amp embodies the whole, hey, if you want to turn your amp into a Marshall, you buy a Marshall. Because this amp doesn't suffer fools, and it also doesn't suffer mods all that well either. So this amp will overdrive sooner for your pleasure. You can have some control over where it overdrives, but without major surgery, without a very detailed redesign of the phase inverter, the negative feedback circuit, all this stuff, you're not going to get this thing to respond the way your Tweed Deluxe does, or any other Fender amp for that matter, because this amp has a couple of attributes that, while making it unique for those who want this particular sound, may make it limiting for those who want to experiment with the ability to get a different type or texture of overdrive from the amp itself internally, without having to resort to some exogenous form of signal boosting or shaping. So this is sort of a take it or leave it type of an amp, and a lot of guys find this out the hard way. This is an amp you get. I really don't know many guys who just say, hey, this is my only amp. This amp does everything I need it to do. The guys whose amps I service that typically have this among their stable of amps usually have a pretty broad range of classic amps that capture a pretty broad range of tones. So, all of that said, I don't know if I'm really set up. This is impromptu. Let me see if I can get you over. I don't know how close I can get. Yeah, this is a 32-inch monitor. And just to illustrate something, I don't have a screen capture taken, but you know, I made a post yesterday, and I just wanted to kind of highlight things like all the extra gain that this amp has to offer is sitting over here in the second stage. A lot of people will automatically go to this unbypassed cathode here and say, let me just throw a 25 microfarad cap on there, and then I'll get the boost that I need. And in many cases, hey, maybe that's true, but there's some potential consequences that you need to consider. And that is that when you touch one thing on this amp, it's going to have a cascading effect. So adding a cathode bypass cap is going to increase the gain, but it's going to take the negative feedback and it's going to weaken it. You're looking at potentially grounding that circuit through your cap right here. So you would basically have, if you want to just tweak this in isolation, you're going to have to remove the negative feedback from this junction here and redesign the system as it is on one of the ladder amps. So, I mean, you're talking any increase in gain. I mean, any increase in gain is going to negatively impact this cathodion phase inverter. This thing is sitting at like just below unity gain. It's no gain. So if you're looking at having a way to push the power amp harder from the phase inverter side, that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen at all unless you redesign the phase inverter. What you can do, and again, remember cascading effects, you can you could run the tubes harder via the bias circuit, but then you need to think about how intense your vibrato or trim is going to be, since it's bias wiggle setup. So anything you do in the way of hitting that phase inverter with increased signal is going to create some nasty artifacts. You're going to have a very splatty type of a tone. It's going to sound like a fuzz pedal. It's going to have a very broken up and unpleasant type of a distortion. There's some things you can do. You can do the tricks that you do on some of the other amps, like add some padding on the input of the phase inverter, right? So you can basically run up to, I don't know, between 100K and 1 meg over into the phase inverter, right outside of the input cap there, over in the pin 7, if I'm not mistaken. You can do that. You can reduce the size of these 0.1 microfarad coupling caps down to 0.047. That could help manage it. But you'll find that maybe it's not the low end that's causing the phase inverter to poop the bed. And that's typically the case. Now for this amp in particular, I did reduce those down to 0.047, and it certainly helped to tighten things up. And guess what? With this particular speaker and this particular amp, that was a good move. All the perceived low end is still there, except it allows you to push it a bit harder before it goes into that nasty overdrive. You can do a trick with Zener diodes on the phase inverter where you're basically doing some clamping, and that helps, but it adds unnecessary weight to the circuit. And then you have to really think, like, maybe I just need to get rid of the amp. And if I'm feeling on the fence about an amp like this, I probably shouldn't have an amp like this. You should either love it, or you should get rid of it. If the amp doesn't inspire you to play, then don't play it. You know, unless it does one specific thing, then, I don't know, do that one specific thing. And use your other amps for what they do and what they can do. But if funds were limited and this was my amp, and, you know, if this was my only amp and just, you know, I couldn't do anything else, what would I do with it? I would probably make it to a kind of a quasi Tweed Deluxe. But I did some experimenting with this amp in the wee hours, and for this particular amp with this particular speaker, and I was tempted to take one of my, I have a small inventory of replacement speakers, like I have some Jensens and what else? Some Celestions, some 10s, and then I have some 12s actually. From some amps that were donated to the shop just to help other guys complete their repairs if they're hard on cash and funds. I was tempted, because this thing sounds beautiful through the 412. I was almost tempted just to sneak another speaker in there and let the customer hear it. But again, then you have like vintage parts at your place. It's clutter. But if this is your only amp, if this was my only amp, then I would probably bring the circuit. I would redesign, or just get rid of the negative feedback altogether. Maybe I would redesign the phase inverter and look at maybe keeping the tone control where it is, because I don't mind it. I like it. And then driving it with a 12 or like a different 10. And then it would be really cool. You would have that swampy trim with that chewy breakup characteristic instead of the harsh and fuzzy one. But then it's a different amp, and, you know, that's the whole thing. That's the whole thing. You get into a philosophical debate about morality as it would pertain to an amp. And then you're in a weird space. You're in a weird space. So that's it. This amp is moving out, hopefully today, we'll see. And I will have, I'll just say it's a monstrosity. And I don't see these, the amp that's coming in, and then the guy's bringing two. I'm going to have to bring these things upstairs, and boy, that's not going to be fun. But once they're up here, it's going to be a party. So you guys take care out there. Bye.